Habari Entertainment proudly presents Habari Live. Habari Live. From Phoenix, Arizona. And you're listening to the Habari Live podcast. The show that brings you news, sports, and entertainment for people who love HabariEntertainment.com. Here are your hosts, Aisha, Jimmy, and Damon Dipleen Ellison. Let's get it going. We are all the way live.
Good morning. We are thrilled to bring you the latest edition of Habari Live, your go-to podcast for the pulse of Phoenix and beyond. Like always, we're all the way live in Paradise Valley in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm Damon Dipleen Ellison and my co-host,
Aisha.
and we will be your guide through the exciting stories and everyday happenings in our vibrant community, your weekly dose of inspiration, innovation, and insightful conversations from the heart of our city. So let's get it going this week, man. It's been another crazy week in the news. We'll talk about that later. But first, we want to talk to our new guest here. And he's ordained Reverend, holistic, Buddhist, Reverend, right? Tantric.
All of that.
All of that.
All those
all the things.
All the many things. Yeah.
So we have a truly enlightening guest today. Joining us, Reverend Benjamin Baron, a tantric Buddhist reverend and the visionary behind Generous Kingdom. Generous Kingdom is a holistic wellness company built on the pillars of holisticism, alternative medicine, and human development with a mission to serve humanity. Reverend Baron combines ancient wisdom with modern healing practices to help individuals find balance, purpose, and well-being in their lives. We're excited to dive into his journey, the principles of tantric Buddhism, and how Generous Kingdom is making a difference in the world of holistic healing. Welcome to the show, Reverend Baron.
Oh, thank you, Damon. Thank you. I think you did a better job selling my business than I would do selling my business. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Man, it's nothing, man. We appreciate you, man. So tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get into holistic Buddhism, and what brought you to becoming a reverend?
Wow, yeah. So we got to go way back into my teenage years.
Wow.
So the truth is, I do come from a Christian family.
Uh-huh.
Come from a typical Christian background. I always knew there was like something more to life.
Yeah.
A little bit more to that. At 18, though, after years of not necessarily being the best high school student who liked to act out and get in a lot of trouble with authority, I loved the principal's office and in-school detention. I joined the military, and I was in the active duty military for 3.5 years, deployed overseas to Iraq. And when I was deployed overseas, I was coming to my end of time in service, and I started asking myself, well, what do I want to do?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it kind of turned on. I remember it was July 4th. We had a 24-hour op. And I got back to my bunk and I just rested, and I was realizing, like, in a couple months I'm getting out. What do I want to do? And I heard a voice that said, you want to help people.
Yeah.
And then that was really what started it. So I got into college at Rutgers University.
Mm-hmm.
I started studying psychology, religion, and sociology.
Wow.
I was asking the question, like, why are we here? What's the point?
Yeah.
Why do bad things happen to good people? Why does life go the way it is? Like, trying to answer questions. And it was through my studies into Eastern philosophies that I found Buddhism.
Wow.
When I was in an airport in Denver, Colorado, coming back from a snowboarding trip, I finished up this book that was basically taught me the information about Buddhism. It's called What the Buddha Taught by Mark Seidritz.
Okay.
Recommend it to anyone. Great introduction to the Dharma. And I remember like holding that book and then putting down the book and, I'm Buddhist. I was like right there. It started the path for me a little bit further. After I graduated my undergraduate, though, I wanted to get into counseling.
Yeah.
I thought that like having a 4-year degree would mean that I could be a counselor, that I could sit in sacred space with people and that kind of stuff. And that's not what did it at all.
Okay.
I started trying to look into, well, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? And I discovered the term chaplain.
Okay.
A chaplain is a spiritual caregiver, a leader of their religious tradition, whatever, that goes and provides spiritual care to industries.
Okay.
So there's chaplains in the military, hospice, hospitals. You find them all over the place. The chaplain is the person that can help you to kind of spiritually process and deal with the bad time. So once I discovered that, I was like, okay, well, what is the next step? I started looking at various programs and places to go because I needed to get that degree equivalency. My original goal was to be a military chaplain.
Wow.
That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a Buddhist military chaplain. I wanted to get in my master's. I wanted to go into the military, and life took me down a different path. Point is, I made it out to Los Angeles, where I was in a tiny little school called University of the West, located in Rosemead, California. I got my 72-hour career degree equivalent for chaplaincy. And I started the path as a chaplain.
Wow.
So my introduction into ministry and into holistic wellness actually traveled the route of being an academic
Wow.
and being a Buddhist and just kind of pursuing that, realizing that I was Buddhist. I wanted to be a chaplain. How do we do that?
Wow.
Fast forward a couple of years, and here I am now at a point where I love chaplaincy, I love ministry, and I just found the struggles with the red tape, dealing with corporations,
Man.
dealing with industries,
Yeah.
Let's just say needing to be appropriate with your wording,
Mhm.
how to appropriately voice yourself. And
Yeah.
as a person that can be a little vulgar, and as someone that advertises himself as a bad Buddhist,
Mhm.
it didn't quite work for me.
Right.
It didn't quite work, but it was the process of studying this aspect of like humanity. Like, why are we here? Why do we do this? What's the
Yeah.
point? That I started to begin to unpackage layers into Tantra and into deeper aspects of Buddhism that really made me realize, oh, wow, we're a bunch of broken human beings these days, kind of
Yeah.
following the wrong path because
Mhm.
we were taught that this is what we were supposed to do.
Yeah.
I don't know about anyone else per se, but I know for me, I grew up in this idea that, oh, well, if you follow the path, you do what everyone else and you get in a corporate job and you work the thing, you'll be successful and you'll be
Right.
happy.
Right.
But I was completely dissatisfied with that.
Yeah.
I was very unhappy, not really feeling fulfilled in my life.
Right.
So that's what got me into entrepreneurship, where I started my own business 3 years ago.
Mm.
And I really started combining the facets of what I learned in ministry, what I'd learned as a reverend,
Wow.
what I'd learned through chaplaincy, and then other places where I've just gained knowledge and wisdom. I started to pour it all into one place.
Right.
I'm realizing the point is I really preach this message of passionate authenticity.
Yeah.
This idea of like, no, be who you are to the core of who you are.
Mhm.
The problem is getting there, though, kind of unpackaging the layers of training that have happened, whether
Definitely.
taught from society, from your parents, from culture, whatever. I started to pull that away and realize not everyone else knows how to do that.
Yeah.
So in a roundabout way, just like that voice when I was, deployed overseas in Iraq, when it said to me, you like to help people, it was that same voice that said, start a business.
Yeah.
And then I just figured it out from there.
Right. And it's not easy. Starting a business is one of the more difficult tasks that you can go upon in your life, man, because it's really tough to figure out exactly what you want to do and how you want to go about doing it. It's really cool that you were able to figure out what you want to do and get on that path and just do whatever you need to do to go down that road. Because sometimes, I didn't really know what I wanted to do in my early 20s. It was tough, man. And sometimes it takes a long time to figure out exactly where you want to go. Now, there's a lot of misconstrued information when it comes to Buddhism.
Oh, yeah,
And
absolutely.
what were some of the things that you found that you had already preconceived in your mind what Buddhism was, and getting into the religion? What's some of the things that you found that you were misinformed about?
Ooh, I actually would lovingly start first there. For me, Buddhism isn't necessarily a religion.
Okay.
It's a philosophy. It's just a way of life.
A way of life.
It's a science of approaching the mind, of approaching experience, of just kind of looking at it. Now, is there religious aspects? Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. But I would say that was one of the first things that I kind of came into contact with,
Mm-hmm.
was I projected this ideal of, oh, Buddhist is supposed to be like this. A Buddhist is supposed to be like that.
Okay.
And as I got deeper into the studies, I realized Buddhism was just a way of approaching yourself to find a middle way between the extremes of life.
Yes.
That this idea that like everyone has to follow exactly the same path is actually the opposite of what Buddhism talks about. It teaches you to follow your own path, to follow your own heart.
Right.
And that there are ways that you can approach yourself that work for you that maybe it doesn't work for everyone else out there. But the point is that it works for you.
Yeah.
Now, there is still some aspects of that. One of the second things I'd learned outside of that was there's different versions of Buddhism.
Oh, wow.
So there's many like sects and denominations within Christian churches. Well, Buddhism has that as well.
Same thing, really.
Yeah, there's 3 major traditions, but then from those 3 traditions, many subdivision of different traditions where how they approach the Dharma, how they approach the teachings is everyone does it a little bit differently.
But they still worship Buddha, though. The Buddha is still looked at as like their Jesus, though, in the way. Sort
of. Again, in some ways, some traditions, yes, that they really like personify him to be almost like a god kind of energy. Right. But if there's one document that we all accept about the Buddha, it's that he was a human being. He lived, he had existence, and he died. Like that's about it. Now, how that goes out afterwards, different cultures, yeah, absolutely. Like Chinese Buddhism, for example, Mahayana Buddhism.
Okay.
They worship the Buddha as almost like this personified God. That's where you see them like making wishes to them, offering things to him, that kind of thing.
Right.
So yeah, that does exist in some way or another.
So do you follow those philosophies, making your giving your offerings for the day, bowing, making your prayers for a certain amount of time.
Hmm.
Is that
Hmm.
something that you also practice, or is that just a different sect?
I would say my guru would tell me that I'm supposed to do that every day. Is it something I do every day though? No.
No.
This is a part of the Dharma that I really emphasize. It's teachings that work for me.
Okay.
So I don't necessarily always sit in front of the altar space or pray in certain ways,
Right.
but I do have prayers I offer, is what we call mantras or reciting sacred syllables.
Mhm.
There are things that I do that are part of my practice that connect me to me
Right.
and allow me that process.
Okay.
So it's not that typical, oh, you must do exactly this every day.
Right.
In fact, that rigidity is something that we would speak against as Buddhists
Okay.
that are really practicing the Dharma, because to be so attached to, oh, you must do these things all the time is kind of the opposite when we talk about one of the noble truths which teaches us that suffering is caused by attachment. So I can admit for myself, I've had moments where I've felt bad that I haven't practiced in the way that I'm supposed to, because this is the ideal that my guru has for me or what I see others doing, only to realize, actually, that doesn't always have to apply.
Yeah.
And if I'm beating myself up about it, that's also not helping me. That's causing me further suffering.
Definitely. And I think, many religions get caught up in that. You have to go into the church. You have to follow all of these certain rules. Long as you're living your life and you're being a good person, I don't think you have to follow all the steps and the rules of that religion. You could do what you have to do to make it right for you. So not everyone fits into the same box, that everyone fits into. So let's see here.
The way I like to describe it is like an analogy wherein there's only one top of the mountain.
Yeah.
There's one top of the mountain. Some people call it God, Great Spirit, the All, the One, Yahweh, Allah. There's many different ways that's come across.
Definitely.
The point is there's many paths to reach the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And everyone's path is different. Some people have harder paths. Some people have easier paths.
That's right.
Some people follow in the path of others. It's like rappelling or climbing. Sometimes you're the first person to climb the mountain, so you're setting all the anchor points for the next people to climb. Yeah. Whereas other people, they're just following those anchor points because like, oh, I like that path. I'm going to take that path.
Yeah, man. I think that's something that everyone needs to learn. Go ahead, switch that up, bro. That you don't have to take the road that's more traveled. You can take the road that's less traveled.
Absolutely.
You can take the road that's differently from maybe your parents, because I'm guessing you was brought up in the Catholic household, right?
Christian, yes.
Christian, okay.
Yeah.
So most people follow their families and their parents' religion. And we blindly just go into whatever religion our parents gave to us, and that's what we follow for the rest of our lives. Having to find something different that works for you, I think is brave, and a lot of people I think should take that path. You don't have to always follow what your parents put into your mind. You can find other things that works well for you. Maybe Christianity wasn't the route for you that helped you. Whatever you need, but it doesn't always have to be the same path that your parents. But most people, when it comes to religion, that's their religion. Whatever religion they were handed, that's what they follow. So it's tough for some people, because some people may not feel comfortable. Maybe you have you're gay. Maybe some other things are going on with you that you feel ostracized from that religion, and you don't feel as though you want to believe, but you don't feel as though you fit into it. So maybe you need a different path. That doesn't mean that you can't believe in that person. Nope. But you have to find a different way to getting to that happiness than maybe others.
Yeah. Well, James Fowler talks about this in his book called Stages of Faith, where a lot of us, and there's nothing wrong with this, we just get to the level of our parents' faith.
Right.
We just, this is what our parents did, so this is what I do.
Yeah.
Not a lot of us as human beings go to that discovery process of asking ourselves the question, what does the divine or God mean to me?
Exactly.
Like, what is this mean to me?
Right.
Because as far as I see it, God speaks many languages. And that individual, that deity, that entity, whatever you want to call it, it speaks to you in a way that matters to you.
Definitely.
And following that to your heart-centered core and living the life that you feel you're passionately drawn to be living, that's something that I really try to preach and talk about.
Yeah, man. That's exciting, because that's what I think it's all the way about. Because I didn't always see eye to eye on my people on how they saw religion. I'm not a religious guy. I didn't really follow religion like that. That's not really what made me happy. So a lot of people don't like talking about those things, because you get into beliefs and different things like that, and everybody start getting uncomfortable. But I've always led a different path when it comes to that religion, and I don't hold anyone's beliefs against them, but I do not think that if you should push your beliefs onto me, because I do not do that to
Yep.
others, and I really don't like talking about it because it's a big deal.
Very sensitive topic.
And people get really upset. I've had a lot of people get upset with me for my beliefs because I don't believe the system that they believe in. You know what I mean? And that's, to them, is disrespectful to what they believe, which is really crazy. So what are the core principles of Tantric Buddhism?
Oh, wow.
And how do they align with the holistic wellness approach of Generous Kingdom?
Great question. So I would first have to start with some of the basic principles that I think all Buddhists accept. And the first of the Four Noble Truths, which essentially is there is suffering. Suffering is caused by attachment. There is a way to end suffering by releasing attachment. And then here's the path to do that.
Okay.
That leads us to the Eightfold Noble Path. We talk about right view, intention, speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, concentration.
Wow.
Those two things kind of interweave with each other specifically. So based off of that, then I expand into my Buddhism. So I follow a Tibetan Buddhist guru.
Okay.
So it's called Vajrayana Buddhism.
Okay.
That is practiced primarily in Tibet and in Nepal. It's one of what I'd call the third turnings of Buddhism.
Okay.
That tradition acknowledges that there are like spirits and ghosts and wrathful entities. Like there's stuff beyond the physical veil that like we can't see that's out there.
Yeah.
Now from that, I expanded into aspects of esoteric shamanism from Peru and from North America. I take from principles of the Tao, Chinese philosophy, yogic philosophy. Like I'm an eclectic faith person.
Okay.
So when you get to all of that, I just call it Tantra. Like that's what it is. Because Tantra to me is the weaving together of a spiritual reality to a physical core being.
Okay.
Like we as human beings are more than just our physical. So these teachings then become the pillars that I base Generous Kingdom off of. So trying to provide experiences for people to connect through mind, through body, through soul, through emotion, through the connectivity, because we as human beings are more than just the physical.
Yeah.
I heard a Native American medicine man once say it best. He said that we are spiritual beings on a temporary physical journey.
Yeah.
And where the spirit goes after that, well, that's up to your beliefs and where that goes. But that aspect ties into business where I try to be led by spirit. I try to acknowledge the aspects of human minds, of human emotions, and of human spirits. It's more than just the physical.
Yeah.
When we talk about this concept of holistic wellness, to me, it's like the whole person.
Okay.
We're looking at the pillars of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual.
Okay.
These comprise us at all times.
Yeah.
So some of the business is designed to connect people to healthy physical aspects. Some of it is designed around healthy mental aspects, spiritual. There's ways to connect that's more than just that physical piece.
Yeah.
So when I talk about Tantric Buddhism, it's about taking all the principles of these realities that I've known to be true and then trying to get others just to consider those.
Yeah.
So whether it be providing events where people can connect, we can talk about things like that, or one-on-one services that I might offer to individuals, whether it be through massage therapy or whether it be through counseling or coaching. It's really trying to take all these things I've learned over the past 15 to 20 years and be like, hey, here's another way of looking at it. Yeah. Because I'm seeing you suffering based on exactly what you talked about. Let's kind of pull on a low-hanging fruit here. People that are within the LGBTQIA plus community that are born into hyper-religious Christian homes are kind of bad-mouthed and bashed for being their way.
That's right.
And then the question I sit back and I ask, wait a second, God designed this person to be perfectly themselves and also teaches us to love one another. Why are we beating people up on that? So it's trying to invite in those alternative perspectives into humanity to be like, hey, look, I'm not saying that any of this is wrong. I just think that it's not right. Right. I think there's aspects of this that we can work at together so that way we're not all suffering. We're kind of realizing like we're here to help each other. That's
real, man. And, I've always, go ahead, switch that up, bro. I've always had a connection with Buddhism. I've always felt that Buddhism teaches fairness. It teaches love thy neighbor regardless of what the neighbor looks like. Do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. Just some of the aspects of Buddhism has always connected with me, especially because the Christian religions didn't connect with me as much, and I felt like it was a lot of hate in a lot of the religions, and a lot of people looking down on others that don't see eye to eye with them, and I never really had that connection. But when I read about Buddhism, and I haven't gone into that deep like you have, but the things that I read about it always connected with me. And it's weird because would you say that Hinduism is a close cousin to Buddhism?
I would, because Buddhism spawned from Hinduism.
Mhm.
So unlike Christian religions, where we can kind of date back the monotheism aspect of it, and Catholicism, Christianity, and Islam all kind of separate from, the major Abrahamic traditions.
Yeah.
Hinduism was the start,
Yeah.
where Buddha was born into a Hindu culture.
Okay.
And so the caste system, their way of like looking at it, like he basically spoke in opposition to that concept.
Okay.
Because the caste system of Hinduism said that, if you're born in a certain caste, you're just stuck there. That's it. And what the Buddha said is, no, you're not stuck. You can continue to live a life towards enlightenment. And just because you're not a priest doesn't mean you can't become enlightened.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah, man.
Bingo.
And that's what it's about, man. To me, it's being able to share that enlightenment, to be able to become a better person, and to not be stuck in a place where you feel as though no matter what happens to you in life, you're still going to be judged as that same person. Everybody wants to be able to grow. And if you're not growing, if you're not being able to change, I think that's what makes people go crazy, because they feel as though they can't come out of their shell. They can't become the person that they want to become. And I think that Buddhism, in a way, gives you that out. It gives you the paths to become that better person. And I don't do a lot of religions, but that philosophy, just like you say, a way of life, it's always been just a better way to me. And I always thought, you look at it, it's one of the older religions ever. Go ahead, switch that up, bro. And you see that a lot of people, more people believe this than in Christianity. And then it's a big thing. A lot of people, try to tell you how wrong they are, and they really just try to erase that whole like they doesn't exist. And some of them, and would you call them Buddhist atheists, or would you call them just is there
non-religious?
Yeah, it's
That's
because most of
That's a
people
good
call
one.
them atheists because they don't believe in the God.
Yeah.
And they believe in this philosophy. What would you think? What would you call that?
So this is one of my favorite parts of the Buddha that I love to reference. There's 10 questions that the Buddha did not answer. So of all the wisdom that he shared in the world, there were 10 questions he didn't answer. You can look up all the specific 10. They're called the illimitable questions or the unanswerable questions.
Okay.
Of those questions, Buddha was asked, is there a soul? Is there a not soul?
Okay.
He didn't make any comment about that. I think that he did that specifically because it is up to you to discover if or not that is something that applies for you. Would I say a Buddhist is an atheist? Absolutely not. Would I say an atheist can be Buddhist? Yes.
Okay.
Because they can apply principles of their atheism through Buddhist lenses that like approach their life in a way that leads them to being moral or ethical or whatnot. Because for me, one of the issues in atheism is this like idea that, there's no retribution.
Right.
There's no repercussions for any of the actions. You just die and then that's it. Buddhism teaches us through karma that that's not actually true.
Right.
So for myself, I do believe in some concept of a higher power, a spiritual something more to this universe that exists. Would that be all Buddhists? Probably not.
Okay.
Though some might have other gods or deities or things that they do worship. The idea is something I love, which you were pointing out, is Buddhist dharma or teachings. It can apply to anyone at any time. We love this. We love to give golden nuggets out to the world. You like this, you like this, you like this. Please take the teachings, and if it works for you, great. If not, that's okay. Leave it, because it's about your lived experience. So I would say no, a Buddhist is not necessarily an atheist.
Okay, that's definitely a great answer to me, because you listen to people talk about it, and they look at the whole East as atheists. A lot of people, religious people, see that. But you're right. You can have a separation that, because atheists do not believe in the higher powers. They don't believe that there's some big power that's making decisions or changes for you. Which do you have any? Hold on, let me get into it. Your company is built on the pillars of holisticism and alternative medicine and human development. Can you elaborate on what each of these means to you and how they guide your work?
Yeah, so I like to say that we put the ha back into life, HAH, human development, alternative medicine, and that holistic approach to wellness.
Yeah.
So holistic wellness for me, again, is the aspect that you are more than just a physical body. You have way much more going for all of us human beings, regardless of when you're listening to this or in any other language. Like, you are a human being, you have a heart, you have a mind. We can agree on that. But beyond that, those aspects of learning more about your emotional wellness, emotional intelligence, monitoring, EFT, various meditation techniques. Like, I've studied a lot of stuff that puts you in contact with that something more.
Okay.
So that's a pillar for me. It's like holistic wellness, meaning approaching the whole person.
Okay.
Alternative medicine starts to get into concepts around my sort of hatred around the pharmaceutical corporations. If I'm being really honest, like I see a bunch of hurt, broken people that are being taken advantage of, constantly being forced to take medicines that don't actually heal them because there's no wealth in getting you to heal. That's what breaks my heart. Like to see that. So alternative medicine for me is approaching life through things like plant medicines, herbal remedies. And I don't mean like, oh, don't go to the doctor, don't take these pharmaceuticals, but it's just, there's something about it for me that seems a little nefarious. So alternative medicine is pointing out like naturopathic physicians, acupuncture, Reiki work. These are things that are alternative medicines that do have scientific evidence actually being helpful to people. And then that last pillar of human development, right? I believe in an old Greek parable that says that society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they will never sit in.
Wow.
And what that means to me is that I am on this path and I'm in this life to help develop a system alongside of others to acknowledge that we as human beings are on a constant wave of development.
There you go.
Like for me as an American, especially, like I love the diversity that's in this room alone.
Yeah.
I love that we have that diversity.
Yeah.
I love the diversity of opinions, the diversity of backgrounds, the diversity of experiences. And I think we can identify some things that are not helping humanity to grow.
Right.
So for me, human development is this idea that not just are we developing ourselves as a microcosm to the macrocosm of the universe, we're also developing as a collective species on this earth and at this planet at this time to do this work for whatever reason.
That's real.
So you can find, like, again, that passionate authenticity of who you are, and then asking the question of, hey, how are we leaving things a little bit better?
Yeah.
Like, are we leaving it better for our children?
That's real.
Are my kids going to inherit a better earth, or are they going to inherit a worse earth? And so constantly being forward thinking about human development is a part of why I built Generous Kingdom the way that I have.
Man. And that's so dope, man, because that's what it's about. You know, I really believe that. Go ahead, switch it up, Aiden. That, you know, like Whitney said, the children are the future, man. And we have to do everything we can to make sure that they get a world that we wanted to be in, that they receive a world that's worth living in. And sometimes, man, I worry about us, man. We're heading backwards in a lot of situations. I'm the way we work as a company here. It's all about diversity. It's all about, I don't care what you look like, bro. We just want to work together and all of us go in the same direction and learn how to be better human beings. I'm not worried about a person, what they look like. And so many people are caught up in these things, man. And I just wish that we would go back to the teachings of the people who care and just learn, man, because we're doing a bad job right now. And America is headed into a dark place. So let's all love each other, bro. That's what we all talk about. And that's why we bring in people of all wakes and all colors, because we don't care about those.
Well, you
things.
mentioned earlier this concept of ancient wisdom, and that's definitely a big part of this inspiration for me. And then you talked about the teachings of old. I'll ask you curiously, do you remember what the 2 greatest commandments that Jesus offered us are?
2 of the greatest commandments?
From Jesus, not the original 10 commandments. This is what Jesus said in his ministry.
I don't.
Okay, so essentially it's 2 things. One is to love the Lord thy God. Now, again, so that I call spirit, so whatever that is, that's fine. But then it says to love thy neighbor as you love thyself. Okay. That's it. Yeah. I think Jesus had a very simple message of like, hey, understand that there is something more to life that's a divine presence that helps to guide us, and treat fellow humanity, treat each other with a little bit of love and respect and reverence. Man. And this divisiveness, like I speak to that real quick, that divisiveness that you mentioned heading into this dark place, that is a big part of what I stand against, because I don't believe in that divisiveness narrative, this whole you, us versus them, illegal, not illegal. We're human beings. We're here on a planet together, and I'd like to leave it a better place once I'm done with it. Man, and if you think about, go ahead, switch it, Aiden. You think about all the teachings of all the great people, just like you said of Jesus. Every one of the people, if you talk to them and you read their teachings, they all loved everyone. It's basically the same. They didn't. All these people swear that they're following. They all swear that they're Christians. But where in the Bible does it says hate someone because they're different? Where in the Bible does it says people should be punished because they were born differently, or they look differently, or they're not living the life that you think that they should be living? Where in these books does it say these things? None of them.
It's all about love. And I don't understand how they read these books and get so much hate and vitriol from them. It's just unexplainable to me. And we every day we're talking about Jesus and the Bible, but for some reason we're all using it for hate,
Mm-hmm.
to put other groups down, to
Mm-hmm.
tell other groups that they're not good enough. When these people, they taught nothing but love. Love thy neighbor. He did not care what their neighbor looked like, or what gender the person was, or if they were weird, or if they were gay, or these things wasn't.
Nope.
He didn't say that. He didn't say love them if they don't go into your idea of what a person could
Yeah,
be.
like fit into that box. Oh,
Right.
you're supposed to act like
So
this.
if you don't think that a person is supposed to be this way, then you don't love them, then you're probably not a real Christian. You're probably not a real Catholic. That's not the teachings was love, bro. So we going a little bit over today, but how does Generous Kingdom integrate spirituality and wellness into everyday life for those seeking healing and balance?
Ooh, I think that the example comes from me because this is what I tried to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
How do you approach your emotional wellness?
Yeah.
Like, do you spend time journaling?
Mm-hmm.
What is the content that you're choosing to listen to? Because I'm guilty as charged here, getting lost on social media every so often.
Definitely.
But I catch myself sometimes and I'm looking at things and I'm like, I'm actually consuming this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be a physical energy or thought, I'm consuming this. That's not necessarily doing it well for me.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, how? Well, I try to invite people into developing new skills and habits and abilities that allow them to connect greater to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, sometimes that's the form of meditation.
Right.
Sometimes it's cold plunging. Sometimes it's working out in the gym. So the point for me is looking at someone as an individual and asking them, hey, what do you want to change?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you not feeling fulfilled in your life? Okay, well, let's talk about what's not fulfilling, and then let's lead you down a path. Let me be a light unto the path to help guide you to this next manifestation along your journey to be that. And eventually, hopefully, you're able to put me down as a light, so that way you can just walk your journey knowing that that light within yourself has brightened up so much that you can go ahead and pursue your path that you love.
Man, that's what it's about, bro. That is what it's about. So let's go into the last question here. For those interested in exploring Tantric Buddhism or holistic wellness, what are some practical first steps they can take to begin their journey?
Yeah, the first that comes to mind for me is really daily meditation,
Mm-hmm.
coming into contact with yourself. I could ask questions about people connecting to their inner child. Do people know how to connect to that source within themselves? So anything that starts to step you in that direction. So that's why I like the idea of daily meditations. I like journaling. I like listening to positive podcasts, motivational speakers, things like that. Because for me, Buddhism is more than just the sort of way of approaching it. It's acknowledging the different things that we do that lead us on the path to being our best selves.
Okay.
Tantra for me just kind of encapsulates all of it in a very nice little box. I'm like, that's what it is.
Right.
But Tantra is about weaving the spiritual and the physical. It's about weaving it together.
Yeah.
So what ways do people do that? How do you approach God?
Right.
And what is your concept of God?
Mm-hmm.
Asking these questions allow you to create that path. So that's why, again, daily meditation, journal prompts, listening to things, maybe reading a scripture is helpful for you, because I'm not saying don't listen to Christian scripture, but use what feels best to guide you back into yourself. And in the process of being guided to yourself, you then lead outwardly from that place.
Mm-hmm. There you go, man. Really appreciate you. So let's get into some of the comments real fast before we let you go. Let's see what people said here. Is it crazy? Well, I met the Dalai Lama. He is probably the most nice guy ever.
Yeah, he is a very well-known figurehead in Tibetan Buddhism and a very easily approachable individual when you're looking for like a practice of what Buddhism at a core can bring you to. Just look at that, man.
Okay. Then we got, amen. If you're choosing people, you should it's not your daddy too. Well, these people are weird. All right, what's that right there with the Matthew? Do not suppose that I have come to bring peace to the earth.
Yeah, I one of the things you're talking about is like the book doesn't say, the book doesn't. Unfortunately, every scripture that I've studied has something you could pull out of it and interpret in such a way to justify, that
violence.
Kind of where I like to draw the line is quite simply this. If your way of life promotes causing harm in the name of your deity, we're on opposite sides of the path. Like, I don't believe in the concept of hating other, like, oh, I don't justify my actions. Like, oh, Buddha told me to be mean to you because it might help. No.
Right.
To me, it's about recognizing the suffering that other people experience. Once you understand the suffering that other people go through, and you know what it's like to feel that suffering,
There you go.
that becomes the motivation to not cause suffering for other people. So
yeah, man.
So I saw the scriptural reference, and I respect that, but I also know that there's many different parts of the Bible that if I was trying to get in some type of a religious debate, I could pick apart different scriptures that say contradictory things anyways.
Show that one from Daniel Broccoli. Buddhism teaches that an animal could have been your family in a past life, so eating them is extremely cruel. The truth is that animals feel pain. What is he talking about?
So this is the process of rebirth.
Okay.
So it is. So one of the doctrines in Buddhism that we agree on is that a soul is reborn, or maybe not soul, whatever you want to call it. But the idea is that you could live reincarnations multiple times over.
Okay.
There was a movie about this with Dennis Quaid in it, where the dog is reborn. I think the dog's name is Bailey.
Okay.
The dog is reborn like 3 or 4 times to help protect the family.
Wow.
So what we're pointing at here is that, yeah, this dog could have been your great-grandmother, who's now back in the family life to just be here to be a part of that process, because that spirit or that essence or that consciousness has reincarnated to be that.
Oh, okay.
And so the cruelty aspect, I do agree on. The idea is, again, when you understand that all life is sacred, you try to not cause suffering unnecessarily. So that's where like not eating meat comes to be a part of Buddhism, where most Buddhists would agree, yeah, they don't want to be involved in the harming of living creatures. Okay. And so they choose as often as possible to not eat meat.
Okay. I didn't. That's something I did not know. I did not know that they believed in reincarnation like that. And I didn't know they were mostly vegetarian.
I think that's what keeps the system in order, kind of thing. And this is what definitely turned me on to Buddhism was, you know, the idea that there is eternal forgiveness. Like you could live a life of horrible actions, and that if you accept like forgiveness, you're given it and you're granted a pathway to heaven. Right. That just never settled well with me.
Yeah, that's tough.
I was like, I don't agree with that one. So it's like understanding that karma is what goes around comes around, and you might experience that in future life paths. That's when you're like, wait a second, I actually want to be a good human being or good person because I don't want to cause suffering, because technically any suffering is like a domino that's going to come back upon you. If you're mean to someone else at some point, it's going to come back to you. It will come back to you.
And that's one thing that I think that Americans get confused when they talk about karma. They think of it as something that happens to you because you did something else. Yep. And I think that the philosophy of karma is a little deeper than that.
It is. And
that we look at it from a very simple plane. And I don't think it's that as simple as we try to make it.
No, it got very watered down in Western America. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just like, what goes around comes around. People think that means, something's going to happen instantly. Like I've seen instant karma posts on social media. I'm like, that's kind of it. But it's also all of the causes and conditions came together to happen in that moment. And in that moment, you made a choice. That choice is going to lead you down 2 paths. And that that path is going to eventually come back upon you.
There you go. Yeah, man. I like it. So let's take a quick break. We appreciate you, Reverend Baron, for coming and sharing your wisdom and insight with us today. The work you're doing with Generous Kingdom is inspiring, and we appreciate you for taking the time to help us understand the power of holistic healing and tantric Buddhist practices. For our listeners who want to learn more or get involved with your Generous Kingdom, where can they find you?
Yeah, so the great places right now is I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and I'm on TikTok. So it's generous.kingdom on Instagram and TikTok, and then Generous Kingdom on Facebook. Those are the current social media platforms, websites coming up. This is going back to the thing about being an entrepreneur. When you're the entrepreneur, you're the CEO, the CFO, the designer, the this, the that. So needless to say, I'm working all of these things simultaneously. So I might not have the best website up and running. But you can hit me up on my socials. I respond to as many DMs as possible. And there's ways to contact me. You'll be able to find me on the internet.
For sure, man. We appreciate you, Benjamin. And we'll be right back in a couple moments. We go into Habari News. All right, let's take a break.
Hey y'all, it's Mama Soul's Fish and Chicken, Habari Entertainment sponsor. Let's go get it. Man, this Mama Soul's Fish and Chicken. I ain't never had a piece of fish that tastes so good. I'm not a shrimp person, but they fry shrimps. It's so good. It's so good. The dressing and the greens and the cornbread. Hey y'all, it's Mama Soul's Fish and Chicken, Habari Entertainment sponsor. Let's go get it. Man, this Mama Soul's Fish and Chicken. I ain't never had a piece of fish that tastes so good. I'm not a shrimp person, but they fried shrimps. It's so good. It's so good. The dressing and the greens and the cornbread.
Go ahead. No, there you go. Cool.
And now, this week's Habari News Weekly with Damon Dipling Ellison.
All right.
Sponsored by
Go ahead,
no
bring it on
one.
me. Oh, we went dark on mine.
And now, this week's Habari News Weekly with Damon Dipling Ellison.
All right. Sorry, we going a little dark here. There we go. Welcome back. All right, man. We're going to go into this news. It's been another crazy week. But let's get into it, man, and talk about what's been going on so far. Man, we want to thank Benjamin again for coming through and talking about his Buddhist and his company Generous Kingdom and his holistic treatments. It was really great talking to him and getting some of his knowledge. So welcome to Habari News Weekly, brought to you by Habari Entertainment. Like always, I'm your host, Damon Dipling Ellison. I'm joined by Isha Rowan to bring you the latest updates and insightful discussions on the most pressing topics of the week. Trump. Oh, man. So, man, the first story we want to talk about today is what was it? What was it?
Today we're talking about
the
political showdown between Elon Musk and the Congressional Progressive Caucus.
Yeah. So basically, man, we have Elon Musk taking over the government. It's just been insane, man, to see it. And we're going to dive straight into it today to try to talk about what's been going on between the showdown between Elon Musk and the Congressional Progressive Caucus. And just, the Democrats as a whole. Members of the Congressional Progressive Caucus are calling for the firing of Elon Musk after his latest moves as head of the Department of Government and Efficiency, or we call it DOGE, the agency created under the Trump administration to overhaul federal spending. It's on you.
Sorry, I got to deal with a toddler who wants to do everything. Give me just a second.
Go ahead, switch your tire, bro.
Yeah, that's right. At a press conference this week, on Thursday,
On Thursday,
Representative Greg Casar from Texas,
mm-hmm.
he chairs this caucus, and he stated that today we're here to say with one voice, fire Elon Musk.
Yeah, and things are getting even more heated because for the fourth time this week, Democratic lawmakers were blocked from entering a federal agency. This time it was the U.S. Department of Education. They've been trying to get in all week, but they've been denied access each time. The video, it shows Democrats trying to get in, and we had one security guard holding them off. I guess he was empowered by Trump and Musk, so they would not let them in. They are in the mode of tearing apart the Department of Education right now.
You're right. I mean, the Department of Education, they did respond stating that in an email to Newsweek, saying that the protest was organized by members of Congress who were exercising their First Amendment rights, but they had no scheduled appointments. So they also confirmed that the protest has since ended, but at the same time, they're just trying to, you could see in the video they were trying to tell the security guy, hey, let us see. We're trying to go in and schedule some appointments that we need to get scheduled,
right,
and things like that. And this guy was just like, nope, I'm not going to do it. And he wouldn't provide any identification to show that he was actually a security detail.
So the reason why all this matters, man, is this isn't just about access to buildings. Democrats are accusing Musk and his team of overstepping their authority, with some calling it unconstitutional. They argue that DOGE is working to gut government programs and take control of sensitive data, including personal information with millions of federal student loan borrowers.
You're right. I mean, it's just hard that, that there's this major concern for it's just hard. It really is. According to sources speaking to the Associated Press, Musk's team had gained access to student loan data, which sparked fears about privacy violations, as well as potential misuse of government information.
Now, let's not forget what this could mean for public services. Progressives are warning that DOGE budget cuts could hit everything from education and healthcare to Social Security. Representative Jesus Chua Garcia called it an illegal power grab and said they're ready to fight Musk in courts, in Congress, and through public pressure.
You're right. And, there have been several reactions to everything that's been going on to this week. While Democrats were sounding the alarm, some Republicans brushed off their concerns. But, Senator John Corwin from Texas dismissed the criticism, calling it hysteria.
Wow.
Not surprised that a Republican would do that. But, he also argued that Musk is simply exposing government waste. And here's the thing. All of the information that they're saying is government waste, and they're getting this information from the very people that work there.
Well, I mean,
from their website. They're just reiterating it.
They're making up a lot of stuff too, though. I mean, we've seen them talk about they were USAID was giving out condoms to people in Palestine,
right,
and spending $500 and $600 million, and all this money that Trump was saying that they were spending. That's all lies. It's all lies. They did send out some condoms because these things are supposed to help to keep HIV from spreading.
Right.
These are the things that USAID do. They try to help people. And condoms, I know they try to act like, oh my God, they just giving out, but this is the spread of HIV. They're trying to help these third world countries for they won't have this spread of these diseases. It's so crazy to see so many people not care about other places. America is America. That's the reason why we help other places, to make sure that they have the funding, that they have food. We're going to sit around and watch people go poor, watch people starve to death because we want to save a couple of dollars. Then the main thing is that what he's doing is hurting all of these poor people. And then he wants to give more tax breaks to the rich, which on top of that is going to be trillions of dollars in debt. And it's going to add to the debt. No matter what he does, gutting all of this stuff, it's because the budgets that he's trying to gut is not going to equal out to the tax breaks that he want to give to his homies. That's still going to somehow, how are we going to pay for those cuts? The tax cuts already have been a problem. How much debt did Trump put us in the first time? I understand that people do not care about these things when it's the Republicans, because every time they're in there, they put us further in debt. And then when they get out of office, they sit around crying, talking about all the debt that the Democrats are putting in. But when they're in office, they do not care about this debt. Just like Trump, he wanted his tax returns to stay the same. Not any person with any knowledge of taxes knows that we need this money. The government needs this money. You could try to not spend 50,000, 60,000, but when you're spending trillions on tax cuts, how is that going to help? This little bit of money that they're trying to take away, and they firing all these people, and all these families are getting torn apart because they don't have a job anymore. How is that helping the big amount of money that's being torn from the taxes that he wants to get? I just don't understand it, man. But this week, DOGE has already taken serious steps. They've gained access to government payment systems, pushed to shut down the U.S. Agency for Internal Development, and they started cutting federal jobs. That's not just cutting red tape. That's restructuring the entire department.
And speaking of USAID, there's been a major legal development. A U.S. district judge, Carl Nichols, who, by the way, was appointed by Trump, has put a temporary pause on DOGE's plan to place 2,200 USAID workers on leave. This lawsuit, filed by the largest U.S. government workers union, is challenging the administration's efforts to dismantle the entire agency.
Yeah, man. Let's go to the comics real fast, man. And this dude, Brandon Reichert. Hello, you must be a Democrat. You shouldn't be on air. You suck. Guess you don't. See what I'm saying? Boy, you people, man. No, I like all people. And this the thing about you haters. Just because you hate people, don't try to put that hate off on us. You know what I mean? I love all people of all colors. I'm not a fucking hater like you. So, what else we got? What did Kamada say? Scroll up.
Oh, he was just saying great content.
Oh, okay. Appreciate you, Kamada, for watching, brother. I appreciate that, man. Kamala and Diddy's freak offs. She's dripping with baby oil. Oh my goodness. The disrespect, boy, that Republicans have, man, is ridiculous, boy. These are the people that we've letting put people in charge, man. People who talk like this. Just ridiculous, man. No respect for anyone. And then they think that we're supposed to be on their side while they talk like this. They're crazy people, man. Crazy. No respect for anyone, man. So I really will never understand why you people hate everybody. Y'all, you people need some help for real. So what happens next? The battle of DOGE is just beginning. Democrats are ramping up legal challenges, while Musk and his supporters argue that they're cutting government waste. But with major federal programs on the chopping block, this fight isn't going away anytime soon.
And we'll be here to keep you updated every step of the way. So just in the comment section, let us know what you think. Is Elon Musk saving taxpayer dollars, or is this a dangerous power grab? Let us know. We'll read your comments.
Man, to me, it's a dangerous power grab. What they're doing is throwing these companies away that have done so much to help so many people, and just throwing it away because you look at it as wasteful spending, because you're a racist and you don't care what happens to Africans. You don't care about anything that's going on in all these places because you're a racist and the only thing you care about is America. We have a lot of money as a country, man. We can help out these third world countries to help them to get to better places. That's what people with money supposed to do, not put it all in their pocket like Elon Musk does. He has almost $1 trillion. He can help so many people. He can solve world hunger. What is he doing? Collecting money, putting it in his pocket.
Yep.
Ain't helping no one, man. In the government firing everybody. Like there's so much he could be doing to help people. What is he doing? Firing people every day. Like, dog, I don't know how you don't feel like you ain't a piece of shit. Straight up, I just do not get it, dog. You have all this money. You get so many people that you could fucking help. And you just, I'm not helping anybody. I'm going in and saving the government money. I'm
so
going to
I
cut
can put
money.
the money in
Man,
my pocket.
man, dude, it's crazy. It's not just you as a black man.
He is unelected.
What?
You're right. Elon Musk is unelected.
No one elected him.
No one.
And then there's no such thing as DOGE. Congress hasn't put this in place. Congress has put in U.S. aid. That has been in for decades. They have voted to send money to them for decades, and somebody can just come in and just tear it all apart because they feel like it. This is crazy.
Yep.
And Republicans are like, oh, whatever. If a Democrat was doing this, could you imagine if George Soros was doing this? What they would be flipping out? But since it's a Republican and he throws up Nazi symbols and hate black people, it's all good. He's not saving us a dime. How is he saving us money, Mr. Blessed? When only thing he's doing is taking out little people that work in the government. He doesn't want to abolish taxes. He wants to lower taxes for his homeboys.
Yep.
Give them another tax break, even though that tax break has hurt America. How much debt that break is giving people? You are playing the victim, dog. Get off of my page. Always come on here with that bullshit, man. Stop playing the victim. What the fuck did I say I was a victim?
You got ignorant people like Mark R.
Fuck out of here with that, man. A businessman can't use business experience to run the government. I agree with you.
You're right. They absolutely shouldn't be able to use business experience to run the government.
The government is not a business.
It's not.
I don't know why these people, well, he's a successful business. The government is not a business. That's not what it's not ran like a business. The government is here to help people. A business is just to make money. Government is not to just make money. It is here to help. It is here to help society. Shut up, man. Get off of my page talking about that victim shit. Nobody's acting like a fucking victim. Shut up. Fucking racist, man. Ain't no one said I'm a victim, not one time. They are stealing the government. They are stealing money.
They are actively undergoing, and we are watching a government coup.
The government is not a corporation, brother. The government is not a corporation. They do not make money. What product do they sell? What product does the government sell to make them a corporation? That's not what they do. They collect taxes, and with that tax money, they're supposed to do the best they can for the American people and what the American people want. Not all Americans are heartless and don't want to see other people get help. Most Americans want to see others get help.
We are not his employees. Go ask Trump's employees how they feel about him.
Man, taxes are needed to make roads, schools, police, exactly, sweetheart. Taxes are used. These people think that taxes is supposed to be something they can just put in their pocket and just go to the golf course. Taxes are supposed to help the poor. Taxes are supposed to bring in things that make life better.
Exactly.
That's the reason why we have taxes. Now, it's not just supposed to be something to just put money in their pocket for they can drive a new Tesla, a new Rolls Royce. That's not what taxes are supposed to go to when there's too many people in government who are doing those things. Now, if he was going after people like that, then I would get it. But that's not what he's doing right now. They're going in, firing all type of people who just trying to put food on their table.
He's going in with political revenge. Let's just call it what it is.
Right.
This is revenge. Anybody that had anything to say bad about him on his first term, he's firing them. Anybody that is going against him and speaking out against him, he's firing them.
That's real.
He only wants people that are going to be loyal to him, his agenda, next to him. And that's what it's all about. He wants to make sure that when he gets out of office this next time, that nobody turns their back on him and snitches on him and say, oh, yeah, well, we know he was breaking the law of doing this, like they did the first time.
Right. I mean, we know how Elon Musk feels about black people. We know how he feels about poor people. He doesn't care. And now when everybody is rooting this guy on the right, But when all of these programs that they're cutting start hitting you, I don't want to see you crying because you didn't care when it was the other people.
Yep.
Now, when it comes to you start losing your products and the things that's helping your life, and it start becoming hard for you, no, don't start coming in crying, because these programs that he's cutting is going to hurt the poor. Those people in Kentucky who get all their money from disability checks, those people in Kentucky who don't work, yeah, it's going to hurt you. All those Republican states, y'all get all y'all money from the government. You guys are takers.
Yep. And the Democratic states pay more taxes to the government
Man,
to pay for your Republican states.
man.
For y'all that sit on welfare. For y'all that sit on aid. And y'all want to say that Democrats are the bad guys here? When we're paying for everything for you?
Yeah, I have to agree with Seahard. U.S. consumes everything and produces nothing. So the U.S. established hostile takeovers in foreign countries with resources, and also the way we use our dollar for so many trades, and other countries uses our dollar for so many trading around the world, that it makes our dollar very, very expensive. So it makes it very expensive to get anyone hired, or to have manufacturing. That's why the manufacturing is in all the third world countries, because it's so hard to pay manufacturing jobs here and still make a profit off of that. So it's a problem that we have as a country. I don't know how to solve that problem, but it's a big issue.
Jimmy, don't nobody care about LeBron.
I don't know what Jimmy talking about.
He said
I'll save us. I'm bad. This dude is drunk. ADL said nothing about Elon and his salute, but Kanye says something. ADL is yeah, man. I agree.
Yep.
That the ADL was really, really, really light on Elon,
They were.
and a lot of them took up for him, but they hate Kanye. And I mean, I don't agree with Kanye. We'll talk about that a little later with his rant. But man, dude, holy crap! I don't know what's wrong with Kanye, but you got to hold people to the same standards. You can't give Elon Musk a pass and then call
And condemn Kanye.
right when they're both the same. So we're gonna go into this next story with Trump's agenda hits roadblocks in Congress. It's he's trying to get through his budget and his tax cuts for the rich, and the Republicans, they already had problems under Biden coming together and getting things passed. In fact, under Biden, I don't think they got anything done. I don't think they passed any legislation. I don't think they passed any bills. They didn't do anything but fight for 4 years, and they had the power under Biden and they didn't do anything. They really suck. And it's not going to get any better under Trump. The infighting still exists. They have a very, very small margin. If anybody says no or doesn't agree, they're done. So they're in a hard position right now. They're trying to legislate with not a lot of wiggle room. So we're gonna dive into the latest political shakeups on Capitol Hill, where President Donald Trump's ambitious agenda is running into serious roadblocks already. This time, not from Democrats, but from within his own party.
That's right, Damon. Republican infighting over spending levels is threatening to derail a massive legislative package that includes tax cuts, energy policy, health care, and border security funding.
Mm-hmm.
The House Speaker, Mike Johnson, initially said that they'd make progress this week. But as the days passed, it became clear that fiscal hawks in the party really weren't on board.
Yeah, Representative Byron Donalds, sellout, my bad, from Florida summed it up perfectly. Republicans are, quote, stuck in the mud with a case of what he calls paralysis of analysis. And translation, they can't agree on how to balance Trump's policies with their promise of fiscal responsibility. Their promises of fiscal responsibility are lies. They're not going to be fiscal. That he wasn't fiscal the first time. They're going to fire a whole bunch of people to make it look like they're being responsible. And then they're going to give a whole bunch of tax cuts. And then that's going to lose all that money and we're going to go into debt just like we were before.
You're right. And this legislative package is a big test for Republicans. With control of the House, Senate, and now the White House, they need to prove to the voters that they can actually govern.
And they can't.
But let's talk about one of the most controversial pieces in this package: the extension of Trump's 2017 tax cuts.
Horrible tax cut plan that only helps and benefits the top 1%. It does not help the poor at all. This tax plan was marketed as a win for everyday Americans, but in reality, overwhelmingly, it benefited the wealthy. According to the Tax Policy Center in 2025, the top 1% of earners will get an average tax cut of more than $60,000, while households in the bottom 60% will see cuts of less than $500. That's not a tax break. That's a payday for the rich.
You're right. It is a payday for the rich. And let's not forget the price tag. The 2017 tax law was already set to cost the country $1.9 trillion over a 10-year period. And if Trump and the Republicans extend these cuts further, we're looking at an additional $400 billion per year in lost revenue starting in 2027, which means more national debt and fewer funds for essential programs like Social Security and healthcare.
Yeah, man, these Trump voters think it's about white and black. We're all going to suffer. You're right, man. You are right, Mr. Hart. We're all going to suffer. Now, where they sitting around playing games and playing culture politics because they don't like trans and they don't like black people and they don't like Mexicans, they don't like anybody. But they think that's what it's all about. But in the end, the debt is going to grow again, and we're all going to be the same thing we were before. And your hate is not going to change my skin color. They come on here, call us all type N-words, all type this, talking about we're playing victims. Dude, y'all cried about the price of eggs for 4 years. But now all of a sudden, you don't care. You don't care as the price skyrockets. You idiots didn't know what it meant. You sat around talking about there is no egg, there's no bird flu, there is Joe Biden's policies. Now all of a sudden you know about the bird flu. Now all of a sudden you like, oh, it's not his fault. I'm sick of y'all, man. Y'all cried for 4 years. Let's go Brandon, everything. Everything. All Joe Biden's America for everything. And you think that this is not going to happen to you? I'm blaming y'all, man. I'm telling you,
it's
man.
It's y'all fault for everything.
Everything. And y'all play victim for everything. That's all y'all been doing. DEI playing victim. Oh, Mexicans are taking my job, playing victim. That's all y'all do. Then come on my page talking about playing victim. And that's all y'all do. Oh, it's reverse racism. Get up out of here, man. I'm sick of y'all on my page crying. And the first thing y'all want to do is, oh, black people play the victim. Who's playing the victim now? You got the president talking about DEI because you fuckers can't get jobs anymore. It's our fault. It's the black person's fault. It's the Mexican's fault. It's everybody else's fault.
But your own.
Biden was horrible. Biden was better than what we have right now. I did not have this dude on here fighting cultural wars, talking about trans people as if they're pieces of shit, talking about black people as if they're pieces of shit. This is what I'm talking about. But anyway, yeah, you're right, Mr. Hart. I do need to stay on topic. And despite the promise, the tax cuts didn't deliver the economic boom Trump claimed. The administration said corporations cutting their tax cuts would lead to a $4,000 income boost for workers. But new research shows that unless you were a top executive, that money never made it to your paycheck. You hear that? Unless you were rich, that money never made it. Meanwhile, CEO salaries have skyrocketed.
Exactly. So what we have here is another round of trickle down economics that don't trickle down.
Ever.
And now Republicans are divided. Do they keep pushing Trump's agenda at the cost of even more debt? Or do they listen to their fiscal conservatives and cut spending?
Yeah, man. It's let me see. I pay $14.99 for an 18 count of eggs, and people are complaining. Please, I eat eggs, so I pay the $15. Girl, hey, eggs are expensive. Eggs are very expensive.
And people were mad this week that Waffle House gave a 50-cent surcharge onto us, the customer, because, like she said, she eats the eggs, so she's got to pay the $15 for the carton of eggs. People like Waffle House and bakers and restaurants that do breakfast and brunch, that's one of their main items on their menu. So they have to do something about it. Either they're going to pay the higher price or they're going to raise their prices on their menu. So we still have to end up paying for it regardless.
Right. Yeah, man, it's a mess, and it's only going to get messier. And right now it's looking like a house divided.
Switch.
So we'll figure it out, man, and we'll keep you guys updated. But go ahead, babe.
We'll be closely following this one, and again, in the comment section, let us know what you think. Should these tax cuts be extended, or is it time to rethink America's economic strategy? Let us know, and we'll be back next week with additional updates for you. Yeah,
man. So now let's go ahead and get into this story, man, that's been going on here in Arizona. We are in Phoenix, Arizona here. We've been having a lot of protests about what's going on with the ICE raids, and we've had a lot of crazy things going on. Oh my goodness. So basically, what's been going on here in Arizona, man, it's been really, really tough. So the protests have escalated in Arizona, and we've seen some cars getting broken into. We saw some a car getting stole. We saw some windshields being broken out of police cars. It looks like things are escalating. It's not good, man. It's only been a couple weeks this guy's been in office. We already have protests in the streets and people going crazy. Now, a lot of people, you want to act like, these things don't matter. But we see the way the country is going. We haven't had things like this in 4 years. It was pretty chill the last 4 years. We haven't had much when it comes to protests and things like this, except on January 6th when they try to take over. But it's been pretty chill, man. The protests have erupted across Arizona this week as demonstrators gathered at the state capitol and throughout Phoenix, speaking out against President Trump's immigration policies and mass deportation plans.
What's wrong?
A large demonstration in...
Damon, you're right. A large demonstration in Glendale turned tense when police in riot gear used pepper balls to dispense a group of 15 protesters near the Loop 101 freeway. And officers declared that the gathering was an unlawful assembly and moved it after 10 p.m., forcing the crowd to break up.
And it wasn't just in Glendale. Over in West Phoenix, a major intersection near 35th Avenue and Thomas, it was completely shut down as protesters waved Mexican flags and held signs reading, "We speak for those who can't," and "Here before they ban my freedom of speech." The Phoenix Police Department acknowledged the right to protest, but said some demonstrators were engaged in what they called unsafe and reckless activity, including setting off fireworks and blocking traffic.
And Damon, tensions boiled over when a Glendale police cruiser was vandalized this week. Its windshields, like you said, were smashed during one of the demonstrations. And even wilder, someone actually stole a police cruiser. And they took the police cruiser and was just doing donuts in the middle of the street. They got out and ran and was gone. Nowhere that they could even find who actually did it because the guy was masked and gloved up.
Right. That's not the only law enforcement controversy this week. Phoenix neighborhood is in shock after Excessive militarized ICE raid targeted a 61-year-old man. ICE agents arrived with an armored truck, over a dozen unmarked vehicles, and even used flashbang grenades, all just to arrest one man. Neighbors described the scene as unnecessarily aggressive, with one resident saying they frightened everybody. It was such a big operation for just one older gentleman.
So, what we're seeing here is a clear escalation on both sides. Activists are becoming more and more vocal, and our law enforcement is responding with additional heavy force.
Mm-hmm.
So, with Trump's administration policies back in the spotlight, these protests are likely just the beginning.
Yeah, man, it's just the beginning. And the bigger question is, go ahead, switch. How far would this go? Will Arizona see more and more aggressive crackdowns, or will the protests grow even larger? Either way, immigration remains a flashpoint issue in this country, and we'll be following it closely.
Exactly. So, let us know what you think. Do these protests send the right message, or are they causing more tension? Let us know your thoughts again in the comment section.
Yeah, man, it's tough, man. I saw a lot of people online saying, why are the Mexicans flying Mexican flags if they're trying to stay in America? Make people were trying to figure out, they're trying to understand what they are thinking in this situation. A lot of Mexican were saying, well, that's our culture, that's where we're from, so we're just representing where we're from. We're not saying anything about America. We love America. But it's a lot of people are confused on the message. I understand, they love their country, but they also want to be here. So,
and then you got people like Chris Falk. They are not protests; they are riots. No, they're protests. Riots are what you saw for January 6, 2021, when the insurrectionists stormed the Capitol. That was a riot, my friend.
It's, to me, protesting is a part of America, man. And America was founded on protest. And we understand that people want to get out, and sometimes they don't agree with what the government is doing. That's normal. But you don't want to see violence and stealing cars and things like that. You don't want to see people breaking out the windows of the police. That's only going to bring in all of the hate, and more people who are going to go against what you're trying to do. It's tough even in the Black Lives Matters protesting. When people start getting violent and start burning up things, everybody is asking, hey, let's stop doing these things. It's taken away from the main reason why people are protesting. But there's always going to be some people who come out and do some dumb stuff and make it bad for everybody. One person can spoil the bunch. But most of the protests out here in Arizona has been peaceful. There has been some people doing some silly things, but for the most part, it's been peaceful. And they have a right to protest, and there's nothing wrong with that. And those people who are disrespecting their right, it's bull. Because when things didn't go the way you wanted, you were at the steps of the Capitol crying about what you didn't like and how Trump won. So we don't have to be unfair about these things, because there's everyone has their time when they're protesting. Mm-hmm. Let's go into your stories.
This week, federal immigration enforcement intensified under President Donald Trump's new administration, with agencies like ICE and the DEA ramping up of arrests to fulfill promises of increased deportations. Initially, the raids in Colorado appeared focused on suspected undocumented immigrants involved in drug trafficking and gun trafficking, right? However, in recent operation, Southeast Denver showed a more aggressive approach, with federal agents conducting door-to-door searches of an entire apartment complex, questioning all residents.
Wow.
without a warrant.
Wow.
Residents described a climate of fear, with teachers reporting that students are increasingly anxious about their safety. And then activists and lawyers have been mobilized at these raids to inform individuals of their rights. Protests again have erupted across Colorado state capitol in response to their operations.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, ABC News was denied access to a press briefing
Right.
on the enforcement efforts, signaling limited transparency. This shift in enforcement strategy suggests a broader crackdown beyond targeting only high-priority individuals, and reinforcing the administration's stance that all undocumented immigrants are at risk of deportation.
Yeah, man. You better get it together if you don't think so. They are coming after all. They keep saying that some people may be collateral damage, and they will be arresting people who are just going out about doing their job. You know, they said they would just be going after criminals, but that is not the truth. They will be going after everyone and anyone that they deem should not be in this country. So be on the lookout. Be careful, because they're after you right now.
Yep. Also this week, the Texas Senate, they passed a bill, SB 2, which is a voucher-like program allowing public funds to be used for private schooling.
Mm-hmm.
Shortly after Governor Greg Abbott
Man.
designated it an emergency legislative item. The bill now heads to the Texas House, which would establish education savings accounts, or ESAs, providing $10,000 per student plus an additional $1,500 for children with disabilities, costing the state an estimated $1 billion. Senator Brandon Carrington, this bill's sponsor, emphasized that funding comes from a surplus rather than public education budgets, framing the bill as a way to help students in need.
Man.
However, opponents are arguing that it could divert resources from public schools and exacerbate segregation. Senator Royce West raised concerns about potential racial disparities, arguing that the system could prioritize students in low-performing schools rather than relying on a general lottery. So despite strong support, the bill still faces uncertainty in the Texas House. While where similar proposals failed in 2023, Speaker Dustin Burrows signaled cautious support, while Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick remains a key advocate for this bill.
Man, it's really tough, man. It's really tough that we're really trying to. This is not the first state that's trying to do this. Arizona put something in place where they're giving money to private schools, taking money away from public schools. The mission that Republicans are on is they want to kill public education.
Right.
That's why they want to get rid of the Department of Education.
Exactly.
They want to get rid of everything that has to do with educating poor people.
Exactly. And this bill here that Texas is proposing, it's going to use your tax-paying dollars to pay for these people's private school tuition.
Right.
Your taxpayer dollars pays for their private schooling.
So I mean, I really don't understand the difference. Why are they so upset that money is going to public schools, but they are okay with it going to a private school, a for-profit school? Like, I just don't understand the difference. It's going to a school. They feel as though that they have more control over the private schools.
Yeah, they feel like they have more control over who gets in,
The
because these
curriculum of
programs are based off of scholarships. If you don't get the scholarship, you don't get the ESA funds.
So that's going to leave out black
It's going to
people.
leave out black, brown, and anybody that has any disparities, including people who have disabilities.
So, I mean, I do, Angelic Army, I see public education sucks. Public education sucks in states that don't do anything to help their public education. Where I'm
Frank
from,
Collins, just get off the page.
where I'm
Bye.
from in Illinois, public education is pretty good in most of the places. There are some places where it's not as good, but most places, it's pretty good. We have to do more about with the public education. What we're doing, just giving up on public education, sending all the vouchers to private schools, it's a problem, and this is not helping to build a good educational system. Getting rid of the Department of Education. All of you people talking, you're gonna face these problems by thinking that that money that's coming into those schools are not going to be something that's missed when the Department of Education is gone. You're going to wish for that when you see that these schools are on their own and these states cannot pay for the tuitions and the books and everything else that these schools needs. Everybody think it's funny, man, until it slap you in your face. The curriculum, that is something that could be set at the federal level. But every state is its own entity, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that situations where black people and brown people are living in, they have worse schools because they have less money coming in. Instead of all of the money going to one pot and everybody equally getting enough money to make sure that they school is being ran well. But we're not doing that. So I don't know, man. This system of taking money away from the public schools is not working. That I do know.
You're right. It's not. And I wouldn't want my public tax dollars going to fund someone's private school tuition.
Man.
Especially when I have a child who may be entering into public school.
Exactly.
And I want my tax funds to represent my child in a public school setting. Right. I want that school she attends to do the best that it can, not pay for your private school. Something that should be coming out of your pocket.
That's real.
You should be. You want your kid to go to private school? You pay for it.
You pay for it.
You pay for it out your pocket.
That's real.
And the fact that school tuition for private schools is the same amount as freaking rent and mortgage payments these days, you pay for that shit.
And no one can afford it. No one can afford to send their kids to these schools, these private schools.
And the private school got the option to say, nah, I don't want your black kid in my school.
Right.
Nah.
Nah, man. You're supposed to be taking all kids. All kids have a right to education.
Exactly.
All kids have a right to a good education. And everyone is not getting that. And that's when the fairness starts in this country.
And it's in the Constitution that all kids have a right to public education.
Yeah, man. School vouchers are trash, Angela Garmy. School vouchers are trash. They're trash. As you take that money away from the public school that's in your area, that public school ends up going out of business, just like we seeing here in Arizona.
Where the schools are shutting down because the money is not, the taxpayers' money is not going to the taxpayers to pay for the public schooling.
And then
is going to private schools. And
then these people who are running these home schools, they're ripping everybody off.
Ripping them off.
They're taking the money and putting it in their pocket. Lying to the state, telling the state that they got 50 students and don't have one. Keeping the money in their pocket, man. Now, there is a lot of bad things that goes on in the education system because a lot of people steal money, but this is ridiculous that we're giving money to people we don't even know what they're doing with it.
And you're not even vetting these people.
You're not doing anything.
You're just
take this money.
Take this voucher.
And just go on with it. And then we're not doing anything to make sure that these home schools are keeping up with good curriculum. What are they teaching these kids? They could be teaching them that the Flintstones was the president. We won't even know.
Exactly. Because they're not required to abide by a curriculum.
No, they don't have to do anything. They could be teaching them that in any bull and everybody's okay with it. We gotta stop this mess. This is mess. Mess. What you got next?
Terry Sutherland, a blind man in Indiana. He wanted to prove a point to you gun nuts. And boy, did he prove it.
Mm-hmm.
He's a blind man. He cannot see. He uses a white walking cane to be able to see.
Mm.
And despite his blindness, he faced no obstacles. in the application process,
Wow.
which he said he found surprising.
Yes, surprising.
While he said he does support the Second Amendment rights for you owning a gun, Sutherland does believe that Indiana should require a competency test at a gun range before allowing individuals to carry firearms in public, similar to some other states. But Second Amendment advocate Guy Relford opposed this idea, arguing that government-imposed restrictions on constitutional rights are dangerous and that personal responsibility should guide firearm safety. But as we can see here, personal responsibility did not guide firearm safety.
Man, ain't no such thing as that in America.
Indiana has allowed constitutional carry since 2022, meaning that residents over 18 can carry guns without a permit. It's in TikTok. Sutherland, who lost his sight
do the puzzle
as a teenager, argued that if he can legally carry a gun, he should also be allowed to drive, highlighting what he sees as inconsistencies in public safety laws. He did reach out to lawmakers about potential legislation, but has yet to receive a response.
Man, I don't know, man. That's crazy as hell that a blind dude can get a gun. I mean,
he walked into the store and said, "Hey, I want a gun," and pick out the gun. He spoke to several people before purchasing the gun and told them. So these store people, the people in the store knew this man was blind.
Look, man, Chris, I don't know, bro. I mean, if you can't see who you're shooting, I don't think that we should hand you a gun. I mean, I understand that blind people need protection too, but he can't see. So, no, you can't give him a gun. Like, I mean, dude, I understand you guys think everybody should have a gun. But if he can't physically see, he's going to shoot the wrong person, right? I mean, come on, man. I mean, nobody want to take everybody's guns, but this situation, he can't see, right? I mean, there's got to be some type laws to make sure that certain people don't get guns. I mean, you have ears, but your ears
ain't gonna tell you who the fuck you shooting at.
Man, hey, you think this dude Daredevil was you think he got heightened senses because he blind or something, bro? Nah, man, that's not how it works, man. Bro he's not gonna be able to see who he's shooting. So no, you there's certain things that should disqualify you.
And ain't nobody said we taking your guns. We just said common sense gun laws.
Common sense gun laws, but hey, man.
And in this case in Indiana, this was not a common sense gun law, nor was it a safety law. No. They did not follow anything.
If someone is in your house, but what if you have other people that's in your house
that live in your house,
and you mistake them for somebody that's someone else? You can't even verify it because you're blind. you can't even say, "Oh, my bad." You're gonna shoot them first, and they be like, "Oh, that was the wrong person." Like, come on, man. We can't do things like this, man. We have to have common sense. This is ridiculous. We're handing out too many guns nowadays, and too many people are getting their hands on them. We see how many kids are getting killed, as the number of kids dying from getting their hands on their parents' guns is just astronomical.
It is, because
so many people who do not deserve them, should not have them, and have not had any training at all on these weapons, have them in their home. You should automatically have to buy a box that your gun is in with a fingerprint code on it to get it open, so kids won't get in. Nobody's even doing that. People are buying guns, just sitting on the bed, put it under their pillow, doing stupid shit.
You know, I saw something like that this week on Facebook. A lady was making a statement that, you know, she and her partner, they got kids in the house, and she's actively asked her partner, "Hey, make sure you put your gun away. Don't bring it in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Put it away. Buy a lockbox for it.
Right.
Put it somewhere where the kids can't reach it." And his response to her every time she has approached him with this is, "Well, the kids shouldn't be in our room. They shouldn't be over here. They shouldn't be in here. Honey, get your kids to safety."
Man,
Because that
I
man
agree.
don't care about you or your kid's safety.
Yeah, get away from him because he's ignorant. I agree with Darren H. Shows that. I agree, man. Our lax gun laws is the reason why we have mass shootings every week.
Yep.
It's the reason why we're scared to send our kids to school. Now, I don't know how so many people are okay with this, man, but nothing hurts me more than seeing little kids scared to go to school. Little kids being afraid that they're going to get shot at school.
Yep.
Or the fact that they're making it okay. They're making it normal that these kids are getting shot at every day. Kids just like, well, that's the part of going to school in America. That's crazy, man. And
they're okay with it.
I saw another program where they're putting they're putting metal detectors in these schools.
Mm-hmm.
They're putting detectors to make these kids happen to put in the metal detector, so they have to go around and they have to get, scanned down.
I saw
like they're going into a prison
this
or
week
something.
on the news. They said parents should be checking the backpacks of the kids. They should be checking the kids' backpacks before they leave going to school.
Man,
that's a way to prevent the school shootings. Parents need to check the backpacks.
Well, what if the kid hides it outside of his backpack? What if the kid puts it outside and then once he leaves the house, he puts it in his backpack and then goes on?
That go to work before the kids need to go to school.
I don't think that happens anymore like it used to, like when we was little. But I agree. We're too lax with these guns, man, and we're paying the price every day, because so many kids are getting killed, in these schools. What else? You got the hot mess coming?
Yeah, after we got about two more stories, three more.
The Trump,
but I can run these all together because they're all the same basically. So JD Vance and Donald Trump this week. They both voiced support for rehiring Marco Elise, a Department of Government and Efficiency staffer who had resigned after being linked to racial social media posts. The Wall Street Journal reported that Elise was behind a deleted X account that had posted inflammatory remarks, including statements promoting racism and ethnic exclusivity. Vance defended Elise, saying that the past social media activity shouldn't ruin a kid's life. Mind you, this guy is not a kid. He a grown-ass man.
He's 25. So he looks like a kid to them.
But, Trump and Elon, they did endorse him and show support. Elon saying that whose agency he went online on X and created a poll asking followers whether or not he should be reinstated. The White House confirmed that Elise's resignation, but did not confirm whether or not he has a potential for rehire. Elise was involved also in a controversy where two DOGE employees accessed the U.S. Treasury Department's payment system, leading to the court ruling restricting their access. And prior to that, DOGE, Elise reported that he worked at Musk's companies, SpaceX, Starlink, and had worked at X.
I mean, it's per par of what Elon and Trump and everyone else has been doing. They don't care about racism. They don't care about racists. They don't care about any of that. Say anything bad about black people, Indians, even though JD Vance's wife is Indian and dude talk shit about the Indian people, he's still okay with it. These people are weird, man. Dude, if you said something about my wife, you think I'm finna hire you back? What is wrong with these people? He just called your wife a piece of shit. And you're like, nah, he's a good kid. I don't want to see his life ruined. He said he hate Indians. And you're like, what you do? So what? Stick it to the racist. Like, what is going on? You're going to really put this dude back in here and he just talks shit about everything that your wife believes in. That lets me know that, you don't care about your own people, man.
Yep.
You married into Indians, but you don't care about them Indian people.
Exactly.
Dude talking trash about them and you're like, whatever.
Yep. This week, Donald Trump did also issue an executive order prioritizing the resettlement
of God.
white South Africans, particularly Afrikaners. Though he wants to do this through the U.S. refugee program, which he had previously suspended. Trump has accused the South African government of racial discrimination and land seizures targeting white citizens, claims that South Africa's government strongly deny. The order directs Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Homeland Security Kristi Noem to facilitate refugee admissions for Afrikaners facing unjust racial discrimination.
Dude.
However, the refugee program largely halted, and it's unclear how this directive would be implemented. Trump's administration has argued that the refugee admissions strained U.S. communities, though exceptions to the freeze could be made on a case-by-case basis. Additionally, the order of the cutoffs from the U.S. aid to South Africa, as long as land reform law remains in place, raising concerns about the impact on PrEPFAR.
Oh, man, this is...
Which is, like you were saying earlier, the program that is in place that is helping provide HIV treatment to Africa.
It's insane. Go ahead, switch it, bro. It's insane that Donald Trump is even putting his nose in this. But he has to know. He has to let everybody know how racist he is.
He only wants
the white only people. Cares about the white Europeans and what's going on with them. He's not going to discuss how 8% of the population has 90% of the farms. He's not going to talk about how 8% of the population has 80% of the money in the country and the economics in the country. He's not going to talk about those things. That's what he's going to bring up, that white people are suffering, and we're going to have to save those white people and send them to America.
Right.
If they want to have anything, programs, he will send those only the Europeans here to America.
Yep.
And it's just blatantly racist.
And not only that, he said that President claimed that Israel is going to give Gaza to America.
Oh my God.
Proposing an American takeover of the region that includes the permanent relocation of Palestinians. His plan, which he says has been well received, would mark a significant shift in U.S. Middle East policy.
Oh my goodness.
Though it lacks logistical details. Trump suggested that Gaza should be cleaned out and previously advocated for resettling Palestinians in Egypt and Jordan, which is an idea that both countries have rejected. He insisted that his plan would bring stability at minimum cost, but did not elaborate on how he plans to implement this. His proposal has been met with skepticism from Arab nations and even some of Trump's Republican allies. It also raises concerns about the need for U.S. military involvement and potential violations of international law.
Man, you're right, Frank. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to put Trump casinos in Gaza.
Yep.
He's trying to take over this place where these people have been living and trying to put up his casinos and homes and trying to make a profit for him and his buddies.
Yep.
Man, these people ain't hearing this. And the thing is that him even saying this stuff is already a concern for the health of Americans in other places. This could start wars. This could make them trying to negotiate peace. This could make it harder that this dude is saying stupid shit.
And Trump has already hinted that he's going to use military action to take over Gaza.
Man, this is ridiculous. These people, it just was a war. Like I said, man, when he first got into office and he moved the what was it? I forgot what he moved. The building,
the embassy.
The embassy. He moved the embassy. And then he also moved where they had the capital at. He moved that also. All in favor of Israel. And then, the people in the Middle East, a lot of the people in Dearborn, Michigan, a lot of them people voted for Trump.
Yep. And
now they're upset and mad because they feel as though they've been traded on. But you should have read on how you should have listened to this dude, because he's been saying for years he's 100% for Israel. He cares nothing about the Palestinians and anything that's going on with them. He do not want a two-state resolution. He wants them out of there. And it's a damn shame to see these people making things worse. This is already a problem that's been going on for thousands of years. You think you're going to come in and solve it by just being just straight up on the Israel team? Man, dude, a lot of them people, and Dearborn and all these other people, they were very upset. They were upset because they felt as though the Kamala and Biden didn't do much. But I say it a million times, man. There are levels to all of this stuff. Kamala, they're going to be for Israel, but they can also try to hold Israel in the position where they can say, hey, you have to make sure that people aren't getting blown up. You have to make sure that we are being making sure that people aren't dying, making sure citizens aren't getting killed. They did a bad job of those type things. But when you go to Trump, who doesn't care about citizens getting killed, he doesn't care about the people of there. He don't care about Palestinians dying. He's like, send them somewhere else. We're going to do something else. Send them other places. This is really disgusting, man. And anybody that is for this, and you've been hollering for years how that Joe Biden has kept us in wars, and that Trump is going to get it out of war. We're not going to be any. No, he's causing more wars and more problems than we already had. We're going to be in a war with the Palestinians because he keep running his mouth. He got business in South Africa messing with these people. Then we got Ukraine problems. We got all this stuff. He's about to start a million wars because he's running his mouth. Bro is trying to start, like you say, man, bro is trying to start wars. How is he helping by saying the things that he's saying? It's not helping anyone. And it's ridiculous that the dude is even talking about stuff that has nothing to do with him. And then he's running America from Truth Social. Like the news have to get information. Like he just took away Biden's information updates from the government. He just took away his pass for government updates. Anything that happened in the government, the old presidents used to get updates about it. Anything that's going on, the presidents will find out about it because they would brief the president on what's going on. He took that away from Biden. And how does the media find out? From Truth Social. This dude is governing. It's insane to me. No, we're not going to get ulcers. You should have an ulcer though, because bro, this stuff is crazy. You should be worried about this stuff. Sitting around and not worried about this stuff is the reason why Trump won, because everybody want to play around and act like nothing is happening. Let me read this. What citizenship will Palestinians hold when they're pushed in on the other countries? America is already taking away the birthright citizenship. You're right, man. We're trying to take away these people's land. The land that these people are fighting and dying for. And then, like you said, they're trying to take away the birthright citizenship of Americans. Something that's been set in stone in our Constitution for years. Just because they don't like Mexicans and Haitians and Jamaicans coming here and be able to become Americans. It's ridiculous, man. What are you saying, dude? Get your facts straight before you come on here and talk caca. Oh, God. That literally couldn't be more wrong. The threat of war leads to war and nothing else. I don't know, man. You can say things to make war happen. You can do things to make more happen. You can make situations. You can say things to different groups and steady start pushing other groups and make a war. That's the way a lot of this stuff happens. It starts as someone disliking another group and pushing another one. Let's say Joe Biden did the same to Donald Trump. Yes, he did do the same to Donald Trump, Fenty. He did that after the January 6th insurrection. I don't think that he was supposed to be getting those debriefings after he tried to take over the election and take over the government. What did Joe Biden do? Like, this dude is playing tick for tack. Is being pretty silly to me. You know, he took away Donald Trump's briefings because Donald Trump tried to take over the government. It's pretty simple. So I don't know what you guys think was supposed to happen, but that's the way it goes down. When you are taking over the government, trying to take over the government, and you egg it on, you should not have access. Now you tell me what Biden did, that he does not deserve access. And that's a lie, Mr. Dropkick. January 6th was nothing a false flag. It was all real, all of it. Complaining about immigrants, but Trump's family is full of immigrants. You're right. You're right.
His wife is an immigrant.
They're all, and JD Vance, all of them. But because it's okay
for them to do
it because they're the right kind of immigrants. You know how he said it last time. He said he only wants Europeans. He doesn't want people from these shithole countries. You know, this was out of his mouth. So you see how this guy thinks and how he thinks about people from other places. Just hate, man.
I agree. All these tough guys will be crying when their grandma's Medicare check is late.
And it's about to be. People are about to suffer, man, for what the decisions he's making right now in the government.
Yep.
He's already taken away most of the things that Joe Biden did to try to make pharmaceuticals cheaper. He's taking it away. Your grandma's insulin is going to cost more because he took away the
price cap.
The ability for people to Medicare to even fight with the pharmaceuticals companies to get the prices down. They used to be able to barter with them. He's taking that away. Like, if you don't see that he's 100% for the rich, I don't know what you are looking at. Look away from the cultural wars and all the stuff because you hate Mexicans and black people. Take a minute to just you still gonna hate them. You're still gonna be racist. But look at everything and how he's just helping the rich. He's using these cultural things like DEI and all this stuff to keep you hating us so he can keep taking the money out your pockets. That is the truth, Fenty. 100%. He's robbing you. And he's trying to keep you discombobulated with just news and information coming out 24/7 for you don't know what to believe in and you don't know what's true. He's keeping you fooled. He's keeping you insane. You don't even know what to think anymore because so much news is being bombarded.
And a lot of what he's doing too is doing exactly what he did the first time
Go
around.
ahead, switch it, bro.
He's making most of the news that we're getting, right, is Trump's posts on Truth Social.
Man.
He makes a post on Truth Social, and the big media news outlets are running with it.
Right.
They're taking it and they're running with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to keep up because every hour on the hour, it seems like he's coming out and he's retruthing something else.
That's real. Put up what Darren H said. You can switch the cam too. I appreciate you, Darren. Really appreciate you, man. Thank you for watching, man. And we hope to always keep you informed and giving everyone the opportunity to stress their opinions also, because we want to hear from everyone. We don't sometimes we learn from you guys in your comments. Sometimes we learn a lot from people in their views of what's going on. We love the intellectual comments. We hate the ignorance, but we like to hear from people who have different opinions. And it doesn't always have to agree with us.
Yep.
Because that's not what life is about. Sometimes people have different views. All right, man, we're going to go into the end of the show real fast. I don't want to say the end, but we're going to go into the last parts. Let's get into sports real fast. Oh, you got the hot mess.
Yeah.
All right, let's do the hot mess real fast.
We still didn't upload it. We got to do that when we get home. Kanye West.
Oh, my goodness.
He's the hot mess.
Kanye is, man, what's wrong with Kanye?
It seems like he's always a hot mess.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But this week, he's once again making headlines for anti-Semitic hate speech, openly expressing admiration for Adolf Hitler and identifying himself as a Nazi.
What is wrong with this boy?
In a series of social media posts, Ye claimed that he wants to normalize talking about Hitler, and he reiterated harmful anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. He also declared that he does not trust or like Jewish people, doubling down on past anti-Semitic remarks,
Oh, my
despite
goodness.
previously apologizing in Hebrew in December of 2023. Beyond his anti-Semitic rhetoric, Ye has also voiced strong support for Diddy, calling for his release from federal custody and launching a Sean John collaboration that they had planned before Diddy's arrest.
Yeah.
Journalist Don Lemon suggested that Ye's behavior is a calculated marketing strategy designed to generate attention.
Yeah. That's all he's doing. And, we're giving it to him. It sucks. But, I think this is something that needs to be talked about, man. All of this hate nowadays, and all of these people just okay with being hateful, just like the guy with JD Vance, the Doge employee, who was online saying how cool it is to be racist.
Right.
And how and he was racist before it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Kanye West on there saying that Elon Musk is still in his swag with the Nazi stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They act like this stuff is cool, like it's shit to be.
Kanye also said this week that
Switch it up, bro.
When people or his fans tell him that he's wrong about something and he should do things a certain way, he's going to automatically do the exact opposite of what his fans and people around him are telling him to do.
Yeah, man. I don't know what's wrong. Switch it up. I don't know what's wrong with Kanye, man. Only thing I can say is hopefully bro gets it together, man. Your hate for Jewish people, and if you have a beef with someone, talk about that person. Why do you have to talk about the whole Jewish religion?
Exactly.
There's no reason to down all of those people. The people have nothing to do with you. Hey, talk about the people that you like. You don't like the dude who you had business with. He just happened to be Jewish. Talk about that dude. Why do you have to talk about the whole Jewish religion and the Jewish ethnicity? Why? It makes no sense. And then he's talking about he's with Hitler. Then he's talking about how he hates rappers, how black people chose slavery. He brought that up again.
Mm-hmm.
His mission is just hate. I've erased Kanye from my mental. I'm done with Kanye. I don't have nothing to do with this dude anymore. It's hard to even listen. I love the man's music. It's hard to even listen to it anymore because you hear his voice and he's so
annoying.
Crazy. He's just so crazy now. I don't know what's wrong with dude, man. I miss the old Kanye, like they always say, man.
Yep.
What is wrong with this boy? If you got a problem with somebody, man, talk about that person. You don't have to be talking. You don't have to call these people talk about Nazi shit against these people, man.
Right.
It's ridiculous. All right, man. Let's go into other sports before we can get up out of here.
Habari Sports.
Super Bowl this weekend over in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want to see the Chiefs three-peat, man, but I kind of think that they're going to. I'm going for the Eagles. Let us know in the comment section who you think is going to win the big game on Sunday. But we're going for the Eagles, man, and I hope that Kansas City doesn't win. But if I was putting my money on it, unfortunately, I would bet on Kansas City, man, because they just somehow always pull it out. I don't know.
That's true, but I don't know. The Eagles this year, they really got it on their backs this year because they mad.
Yeah,
they
man.
lost the last one to them.
Yeah, they definitely did lose the last one. And I think that was 2022.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely, man. Hopefully the Eagles play big and can turn it around. Hopefully Saquon has a big day is what we're hoping. But welcome to Habari Sports, your go-to for all things hoop and beyond. I'm Damon Dean Ellison, and we got some topics for today. I'm just gonna talk about the Luka trade and how everyone is losing their mind with conspiracy theories, acting like that Luka can't be traded, and we even getting death threats for the GM. The Luka trade fallout and NBA deadline madness. It's been madness. People have straight lost their mind. Death threats. Uh, so I just don't get it. The Luka trade has sent the basketball world into a frenzy, and honestly, it has brought out the crazies. The Dallas Mavericks GM is receiving death threats because apparently some people think this move was made without the consent of the owners. They think this dude just made this trade on his own. Like he was just like, I feel like trading him, Luka. Let me go do this.
But the owner of the team is gonna have the final say.
Man, he had to go to the owner before he even made that decision.
Before
the owners.
he went to the owner and said, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking we need to do. What you think?"
Right. And best believe that this is the first time it came up. They have been talking about this inside conversations and meetings that they don't know if this is the guy they want to give 350 million to.
Right.
Now, a lot of small teams may change their mind on the players that they have because they don't want to pay them all that money. It looks like Sacramento also didn't want to play Fox because these kids are about to get a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who wants to give out that 350 million? So far, no one wants to do it.
Right.
They're trading the players who could be up for it. LA, they'll be able to pay a little bit more than what Dallas would pay. But I don't know if the money was the only decision. There must have been, if they thought that they can win a championship with Luka, he would still be on the team. I really think that. Dallas felt that Luka wasn't their guy anymore. That decision came from the top. But we've got conspiracy theories everywhere. From the Mavs planning a secret move to Las Vegas, some people are saying, to this being part of a TV ratings boost to hope that the ratings get better by sending him to LA. We have other people, the guy's only 25. He's an elite in the playoffs. And just last season, while he was injured, he did help to take Dallas to the finals. They did lose, but most teams would kill to have a player like that on their team. But man, it's kind of crazy to see the people, the conspiracy theories. Here's where it gets a little crazy though. The return for Luka, most people won't say is great, even though I think Anthony Davis is a great player. He is older, but I think it does give Dallas a chance to win this year. I do think Anthony Davis is a great player. I think that Dallas, they should be happy about the team that they have because they could be Phoenix because we suck. You know what I mean? So you have a good team still. You still have Kyrie. You have a good nucleus. And I think that they will play pretty well for the next couple years. The team looked at themselves and they felt as though that Luka wouldn't take them to that place. And that $350 million is too much to pay him. So naturally, fans are speculating, was Luka's injury a concern? Did he clash with the coach or the front office? A lot of people saying that they didn't think J. Kidd knew anything that was going on. You have to be goofy if you think that J. Kidd didn't know what was going on, and that this may happen because of the tension that's going on between the owners, the GM, and everyone else. You think that the GM just made this decision and just went on by this? That's not how it works. But did the Mavericks just not want to pay him long term? I don't know. It could be that. Some NBA insiders like Henry Abbott suggest the ownership wasn't willing to spend hundreds of millions on Luka, but they knew the backlash would be bad. So instead of an opening bidding war, they quietly dumped him to LA before fans could even react. And now the GM, Nico Harrison, is taking all the blame. I don't know. I don't think that Nico should be taking the blame that he is. And I do think that he was just doing his job that the owners wanted him to do. He's not trading Luka without ownership knowing. So we got the Golden State Warriors. They did get Jimmy Butler to the Warriors for Andrew Wiggins. The Suns, they did make some moves. Phoenix sent Yusuf Nurkic to Charlotte for Cody Martin and Vasily Mincic. Before the deadline, another shakeup for a team that already traded Josh Okogie and the multiple picks for Nick Richards to Charlotte last month. Nurkic, his time in Phoenix was rough, man. He started then lost his job and his numbers have tanked. He didn't play very well. But I don't know, man. The Suns, I'm not very happy about the Suns right now. We're just not looking good. And I'm just lost all faith in the team. Hopefully we can go on a nice little run, but it's not looking good. So let's go into the comic book corner real fast.
Comic Book Corner. Sponsored by...
If you would like to sponsor us, please email us at info@habarientertainment.com or visit the website www.habarientertainment.com.
All right, man. So welcome to Comic Book Corner. We're going to take a deep dive into the stories. I'm going to run through this real fast. We had the new, what is it, Spectacular Spider-Man coming out with 3 new episodes this week. I thought they were really good. We had some things going on with Lonnie and his gang situation, and looking more into his life. And I thought that was really interesting how they did that. I love the way
like their take on Lonnie's life
Yeah,
this time
man.
around.
Yeah, man.
I liked how they introduced him, his backstory.
It's just I just think it's a good show, man. A lot of people are mad about it, but man, I like it, man. Especially being in New York and seeing the diversity and seeing the different people, and
Right.
it's pretty dope. And then they're bringing in different characters that are superheroes, but we never really seen in this situation before.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. I just like what they're doing, and I suggest everybody go check it out. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I think your favorite neighborhood Spider-Man is streaming on Disney Plus. Episodes 3, 4, and 5 have came out, so it's like I think it's like 5 episodes out now. So it was some big reveals, some serious character development. Episode 3 was talking about Spider-Man's identity, him trying to get a suit that works for him. Him and Osborn was trying to figure that out. He fought with Speed Demon and Tarantula. That's who that was. I didn't know that at first, but that was pretty cool. So like I said, man, it's a really good show. Don't take my word for it.
I agree.
Go check it out.
The favorite was reading the comic strip in the newspaper every morning.
Yeah.
I used to go straight for that too when I was a kid.
Yeah, man. I've always liked, cartoons and all this and art. So Norman Osborn, who is helping Spidey, build his suits and everything. I just like the dynamic between them, and them trying to figure out ways to make Peter a better Spider-Man. And he did. I don't want to tell you guys everything, but go check it out, man. And we'll give you guys updates, and we'll talk about it more. How, because we love the comics and we love Spider-Man. So it's pretty dope. And I think it's one of the better shows out right now. But we are getting pumped for next week. Captain America will be released on the 14th. And it's been a lot with that. A lot of people mad at Anthony Mackie about some things he said about Captain America not exactly being the representation of America, but a representation of good things are good, and that's worldly. You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't just have to be America. We're not the only place in the world that's good. I understand, but a lot of people got upset with him with that. I just think that he's getting a lot of slack for being Black Captain America, and it's really trash to show how this country feels about
Right.
people who have been a part of this country forever.
And then you're right. You're absolutely right. And then another thing too we saw this week. If you haven't, go check out the Fantastic Four First Steps official trailer.
Yeah, man. It was really good, man. I love to see the Thing. The Thing was looking. I just like his look, the way he was talking. Thought
his
it was
whole
dope.
aura was more like that's the band that I've seen in the comics.
And a lot of people were upset. They said they didn't like the look. They didn't like the way he looked. They didn't like the CGI. I thought he looked perfect, man. Especially compared to the crap that we got the last 3 movies.
Yep.
This iteration is one of the best I've ever seen. He looks exactly like Ben's supposed to look. And a lot of people were upset talking about he needs a deeper voice. I'm like, man, his voice is perfect, man. Nobody ever said dude voice is deep. They just did that in the movies for whatever reason,
right?
But I thought the trailer was really, really good, man, and I think the movie is going to be even better. So I'm a big fan, and we'll be there to check it out and let you guys know how we feel from there. But before we go today, please, everyone that's watching, hit that subscribe button for you can get updates and everything from us from the week. And every day we releasing new clips and everything, so check out the clips. And if you have things that you want us to talk about or things that you think is important that we have not spoken upon, please hit us up, man, at info@Habari Entertainment, and you can send us any topics that you want us to talk about, and we will make sure to shout you out and put you up and let you know we got the topic from you. So we appreciate you guys watching again, everybody that tuned in this week. Thank you to Darren H. She was a really good. Had a lot of good comments this week, and we hope you will be here next time. So peace out. See you guys next.
Thanks for watching another episode of Habari Live. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and get updates on news, the podcast, and more. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And don't forget to visit www.habarientertainment.com. See you next week. Peace.
Okay. You got anybody coming in? Just let your person know you're gonna be here half an hour early. Okay? And we'll do 2:30. 3:30. You have to get out of here by. You have to be out here by 3:40, right?
Yeah, like
Yeah. So if we could do 3:30, that would give him time to go do what he needs to do. Cause he gonna engineer your show. I got some shit to do today. Yeah. Just hit him up and let him know it's gonna be 2:30 to 3:30, and we'll have somebody here to engineer you. All right. Thank you.